spiritual practice, the very few seekers, the very few light warriors, the very few people, I'm going to say few, use. And the reason why I'm so convinced of this is because I myself forget to use this spiritual practice that today I love to share with you. And this is a practice that very few people use in their path. And this is the practice to be gentle with yourself. Gentleness. I remember a few months ago, maybe 2-3 months ago, I went into digital or Zoom retreat of my friend Kim Terranova. You might see her in this Facebook Lives, and she said this in her retreat. She says, gentleness is a spiritual practice. And I had to pause in that moment and just take a deep breath. And I said to myself, oh my God, it is. It is. And let me tell you something about people like you and I. We forget to be gentle with ourselves in the process. We start learning about all these healing modalities. We start learning about healing our ancestors, healing patterns of behavior, healing addictions, that there is a way. We start learning about the importance of setting boundaries. We start learning the importance of saying no. What else do we learn in this path? We learn about letting go of limiting beliefs. We learn about having healthy habits. We learn all of these things and we say, okay, I got it. I heard the teacher, important to meditate. It's important to, do some self-care. We learn all of these things. And then we embark the journey. And then as we're walking in the journey, we push ourselves and we say, you got to do it better. And it's not enough. We got to fix ourselves. You're broken. Just keep walking. And we start pushing. Now, there's a time and a space for everything. There's a time and space for pushing and for reaching and for stretching. And if that's the only thing that we do, we might tear ourselves apart in the process of healing and becoming more of who we already are. In the process of blooming into our greatest yet to be, sometimes we're pushing ourselves so hard. We're demanding so much of ourselves. We're muscling through the healing process. We want to speed it up and we want things to happen now, yesterday. We forget to be gentle with ourselves. And I just love, there is a book that I have that someone gave me. I can't remember who gave it. It was 365 days of wisdom, something like this. And there is one poem there that refers to a flower blooming. And the author of the poem, or the poet, says, imagine if a flower were to speed its blooming process. It would probably tear itself apart. And I've seen it at Rhythmia. I've seen it with my own clients. I've seen it in my own life. We want everything to happen quick. And yes, miracles are just a holy moment and holy instant. And they happen. They're happening all the time, as A Course in Miracles says. And miracles are happening all the time as a natural impulse of nature, of the universe. We ourselves, our life is a miracle. And we're in this body. We live in this human vehicle, this human animal that we call the body. We're embodied. So that means that in this body, it takes a little bit for the body temple to catch up with the energy changes that we make, with the insights that we get. And so after we get big insights, after we learn new things, we get ready and we say, yes, I like this. I want to do this. And then in the process, we forget that everything has its timing. Again, I'm going to mention again, like a flower blooming, like a flower opening, it has its timing. And I think it was Deepak Chopra and the 7 laws of spiritual success, something like that. He says, if you want to learn a lot, if you want to learn wisdom, follow nature, follow the rhythms of nature. I have never seen a big oak tree, a strong oak tree, grow overnight. I've never seen it. Nature is so elegant. It takes its time. Nature is never speeding, never rushing, yet everything gets accomplished. I heard this in a yoga class the other day, and it was so beautiful. I don't know who originally said it, but nature is never rushing, yet everything gets accomplished. And so in this path that we embark, because we want to heal, because we want to express the best version of ourselves, sometimes because we come from that pattern of pushing through and muscle through things and rushing through things, we speed it up. We want to be better, and it's never enough. And so, as my brilliant friend said, gentleness is a spiritual practice that a lot of people forget about or don't even think about. So it is my invitation for you today to be gentle with yourself. It's my invitation for myself. Remind myself, just Paula, be gentle. Be gentle. I get it. We want to grow. I get it. It just feels uncomfortable. But just gentle. And some days you feel very resilient, very strong, and you can go a little faster. And some other days you feel very vulnerable, very fragile. Maybe something just triggered you very deeply. And especially in those days when it feels heavy, the spiritual practice, the most important spiritual practice you can have is to be gentle with yourself. Here's a little reminder, gentle. I hope this is not mirroring funny. Sometimes it does. Gentle. So that gentleness is such a great teacher, and I tell you guys, I'm talking to myself too, especially because people that like to achieve, that like to grow and expand. I mean, all of us, but there's some people, and I'm going to include myself. I love information. I love learning. I love healing. I love the medicine. I love expanding myself. It's so good. And sometimes in that reaching, in that seeking, I can become mean in my own thinking, and that hurts. And that's define the purpose of this whole thing, which is to remember that we are loved just the way we are. Even if you sat on a couch for the rest of your life, which I'm sure you're not going to do if you are loving yourself, because usually when you're in that space of worthiness and enoughness, what you want to do is naturally express yourself in the world. But if for whatever reason you can't do things, you can't go to places, and you're in a couch sitting there, you're still loved, whole, perfect, and complete from a spiritual perspective. There's nothing wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with us, you guys. You might say, Paula, you're crazy saying that. There's a lot of wrong things with me. Yeah, the ego mind might think that about yourself. But at a spiritual level, at an invisible, eternal level, if you don't like the word spiritual, you can change it for invisible, eternal. We're whole, perfect, and complete, and we have come into this body. We've collapsed into this dense body to have a human experience. And as we're walking, shaming and guilting ourselves does nothing for us. It gives you zero return of your energy investment. So it is my invitation for all of us to remember to be gentle with yourself. There's a beautiful song. It's kind of like a lullaby from Karen Drucker, and it's so beautiful. She sings, I want to be gentle with myself. I want to be easy with myself. I want to go as fast as the slowest part of me wants to go. And I love playing that song when I'm feeling like I'm pushing myself a bit too hard. Just remind myself, I want to be gentle with myself. I want to be easy on myself. I hope you guys are resonating with this message. I'm going to go to the comments. Michael Love Loud, thank you, Michael. How to overcome from negativity, it says Vivek. How to overcome negativity. Well, gentleness is a good one that decreases the negativity. You can bring a more, I like the analogy of a parent parenting a toddler learning how to walk. I don't know, Vivek, if you have children or nieces or nephew, any kids around you, and I would love for you to remember of a child in your life learning how to walk. And that child falls a lot in the ground. From crawling to walking, there's a period of time of learning how to do it. And at least I have never seen a parent that is healthy, that it doesn't have a condition, like a mental condition. But usually parents love their children so much that if that child falls in the ground, the dad or the mom will say, okay, honey, try one more time. I got you. So every time negativity swirls into my mind or comes into my mind, I imagine myself like a toddler falling. I was walking all good, but then I fall. And I have a choice there. How am I going to treat myself when I find myself thinking all those negative thoughts? How would I treat a child that I'm responsible for, that is a little toddler? Imagine a 1-year-old. How would I treat a child falling? I'm gentle. I don't know about you, but I have a niece and nephew, and when they're learning how to walk, I'll pick them up and just cheer them and be like, it's okay, honey, you're crying, that hurt. Come on, let's begin again. So we always have that choice of beginning again. Now, meditation, it's the greatest practice to develop that capacity of observing the negativity. So when we observe the negativity, you go, oh, I can see you, negativity. I love you. It's okay. Another thing, Vivek, and you just reminded me of this, is that when you're very negative, it's usually that there are needs that are not being met in your life. There are needs in your life that are not being met. So I encourage you to ask yourself, what is it that I'm needing that is not being satisfied? What needs are not being satisfied in my life? Sometimes I know for myself, if I've been overly giving to people, if I've been overextending myself forgetting about self-care, I tend to spiral down into negativity. Sometimes you just need rest. Sometimes, like Abraham Hicks says, take a nap and see what happens after that. Let go of that resistance. So there are many ways, meditation being one. Another one is asking yourself, what is it that I need that is not being met? What need is not being met in this moment, so that I can meet that need? Or maybe I can ask my friends or my partner to help me meet that need. It could be that you're hungry. It could be that you're exhausted. It could be that you're missing community, that you've been isolating yourself. And I know in these times that's happening a lot because of the pandemic. Perhaps you can connect with people over the phone, over a Zoom call, or maybe you can go in a park where there's others and you can see other humans. We have different needs. There is a website of nonviolent communication. You can type list of needs of nonviolent communication. You can look at that list. That's what I do all the time. I look at the list and I ask myself, what is it I'm needing in this moment? Because I'm not feeling well. And so when I meet my needs, the negativity tends to decrease. And again, meeting your needs, it's another form of being gentle with yourself. Making yourself a priority. It's, again, it is a common sense thing, but common sense is the least common of the senses. So I invite us all today to be gentle with ourselves. At any given moment, like Vivek said, there's negativity there. Ask yourself, what is it that I need that I'm not giving to myself? But thank you so much for being here, for listening, for having your heart open. And I would love to see your comments below. I'll come back later and comment back to you. Have a great day. Have a great time being gentle with yourself, and have a beautiful rest of your week. Goodbye.